Good evening, folks. It's great to be back on a typical Sunday. Hope you're doing good, staying purposeful, and keeping very healthy. I've been pretty good. A lot of travel this week. Was in Chennai for part of the week. Got back. Had a busy Saturday as well, and spent some time in this morning to prepare for today's topic. And this kind of came about because not just because of my age, but also due to some of the interactions I've had with people of my age. That is, let's say late 30s and mid 40s. So I'm going to talk about testosterone or libido or lack of it or the struggles men face in their 40s and mid 40s and how we can literally get how to basically get it back up, right? I mean, pun intended. Anyway, let's jump right into the topic. It's pretty serious this time, right? Okay, so people should kind of know people in their 40s, men generally are little shy or embarrassed to even admit it or talk about it. um, as you age, testosterone decrease. I'll show you the chart in a bit, but just to get started, people should understand that man's testosterone peaks in his teens and then early 20s, and then after 30 it starts kind of dipping. And a lot of people in their 40s, you have seen, right? They'll be just completely off color, off the charts, lack of drive, kind of less motivation. They'll feel pretty low on energy. It's almost like semi-dead man walking kind of a stuff. Their thinking will go a little astray and stuff. So a lot of this, I mean, a lot of this is a symptom of something fundamentally wrong with them, and that's also one of the main, let's say, proponents or contributing factors is lack of testosterone. And this gets pretty serious in your late 30s and 40s. And so let me just show you the chart so that further parts will make more sense to you. So, okay, great. So as you can see, this is the chart, right? So you can see that as you age, it's kind of peaking in your early 20s and till about 25 until about 30, it's pretty much decent. So the range of testosterone level is considered 200 to kind of 800 or even 1100 nanograms per deciliter. But in general, if you're in this range, it's pretty good. What you can typically see that the drop is getting a little serious in your 35s and 40s, and after 45 you can see the dip is even more serious because you're pretty much hitting that mark where it's just borderline, right? So this is the stuff that you should know about. Testosterone naturally declining with age, so that is pretty much normal. The case that we are talking about is the decline that's kind of unnatural or more than what it should be happening, right? Instead of this 1% decline that's happening, or there's a super sudden drop in your 40s where you have erectile dysfunction or some of the symptoms that I spoke about. We'll go over it again. But let's say if the conditions are even more serious, then you should, this video is for you. You should hear it out for a long time. So let's just go a little further. I told you why it is important, right? So there are hundreds of videos of why testosterone is important for a man. In fact, a man doesn't even feel like a man without testosterone. That's kind of one of the things that makes you what you are, right? And this is a very common concern that people are quite embarrassed to talk about. So men obviously can't talk to, they don't discuss these things with our male friends. They don't even probably want to go to a doctor, etc. They feel pretty shy and embarrassing. And even if I was in that situation, I would have felt the same. And I'll come to that, right? Because I've been in that state and I kind of redeemed myself, which is why I thought it makes more sense to talk from a perspective of what I've been through and how it helped me through what practices, right? That being the case, his marital life is going to get affected. His wife is going to be unhappy. He himself is kind of struggling, right? Maybe the your work, your overall motivation levels, so if they're down due to lack of testosterone, it's going to affect your overall quality of life that you're leading. Now, we spoke about the natural decline in terms of 1 to 2% decline over a period of time, and of course it kind of accelerates a little more in your 40s and mid 40s, and beyond that it's a little more steeper. Now, what are the key signs of low testosterone? Let's just go through that. I'll just cover it. Low sex drive and weaker erections, not just occasional but consistent. Yes, there are occasions in which you would not feel like having sex, or your erections may not be as strong as they used to be. That's normal. It could be due to a lot of factors, environment, stress. You might be thinking of something. This is pretty normal. But if this is very consistent, then something is wrong with it. Make note of it and listen or act on it. Right? And fatigue, lack of motivation, struggling to get going. So you just don't feel like doing anything in life. Complete lack of motivation. That's another signs you should watch out for. Loss of muscle mass, kind of increased belly fat, even with workout. So that's another great indicator. So little bit on muscle mass, I'll come to that. So to build muscle mass, you need testosterone, and to build testosterone, you need muscle mass. It's a kind of two-way relationship. But essentially, you will see that if your muscle mass is dropping, something is definitely not right with you. Even it's kind of pertinent to tell you that the muscle mass also kind of drops at the same rate of testosterone, about 1.5% per year after you're 30. So you can see how it's directly linked. Uh, Bad mood swings, irritability, feeling off for a long time, or feeling quite low. Poor sleep and brain fog, trouble focusing or remembering things. No morning wood for weeks slash months. It's a big red flag. That's what ChatGPT is telling me. I've written down some notes. Okay, great. So now, of course, you guys know I've spoken about sleep before, so I'll just touch upon that part. That sleep is extremely critical for your well-being and also testosterone. So don't discount that part. A little bit on morning wood. So now a lot of men face it. That when kind of at around 4:30, 5:30 ish in the mornings, you'll typically see that you'll have morning wood, and it's kind of you don't have to think, it just happens automatically. And when you're in your 20s, it would have happened more often. You would have even had, let's say, nightfalls more often than in your 30s and 40s. But as you age, even this decreases, but it shouldn't be alarmingly dropping at a rate where it doesn't happen at all. So typically, even in your 30s, late 30s and 40s, it will happen. So if you're not having it at all, you're probably you're suffering. It's possible that you're suffering from low testosterone. It's not the only reason, or it could be having some issues with the nerves and also the blood flow, right? So all of that kind of plays. So these are some signs of testosterone, dips. Now, obviously, it's very easy to find whether you lack it or not by doing a blood test. It's pretty straightforward. You have to look for total testosterone, and the more important one that you look for is free testosterone. There are charts online which kind of tells you what is the age. Let me just see whether I have it drafted in my notes. So let's go to the notes and we'll see. Okay, I read through the symptoms here: hair loss, trouble sleeping, infertility, obesity, etc. Okay, so now let's also see whether I had. Okay, I don't think I documented it much, but yeah, I wanted to also show you something. Okay, cool. Sorry, I don't have that, but I'll just keep it open and talk about it later. Cool. So now we did touch upon the fact that this happens for a lot of people, and lack of morning wood, etc., are clear signs. Now you do a free, you do a blood test. You find out what is your usable testosterone level. That's the more important part, or let's say call it as this one, right? Your free testosterone or total testosterone or bioavailable. So you need to kind of test for it and make sure it's in the range that doctors are recommending it for. That's the more important step. And if it's not there, what do we do? That comes the question. Now, before we go into the steps of what is required to improve your testosterone, I'll definitely come to that in a bit. I also want to tell you that first of all, don't feel shy that it's pretty low. It happens, and it's largely due to a bad lifestyle that we lead. Otherwise, men can easily have good sex and have good erections up almost till you're, even into your 70s and 80s, right? I've seen a lot of people becoming fathers in a natural way in their 70s, so it's nothing to be shy of. Of course, if you can cure yourself or redeem yourself by doing it on your own, nothing better than that. But if you need help, feel free to reach out and don't feel embarrassed about it. It's just a medical condition that need to work. So almost like I think 2021 or maybe 2022, I don't quite recall. I've been through that part where I had extremely low libido. There was a day, I think it's 2021. There was a day and I woke up. I think I was just going to this my bathroom mirror and I was just looking at myself. The chest almost was completely narrow. There was no muscle. It almost felt like I was suffering from rickets, like zero muscle, and face was pretty dark. Eyes were puffed up. These were all just due to very bad lifestyle that I was leading. Drinking really or smoking a lot, not exercising, and doing everything absolutely wrong that I shouldn't have done. but that's how you learn in life. And I've been through that. And what is the direct effect of it? Low libido, no low testosterone, and you pretty much have no motivation to live, which is exactly what I actually thought at that time. When I looked myself at the mirror, I thought like, oh man, what have I done to myself? Why am I even looking like this? If any of you ever feel like that, I kind of understand. You almost feel like there's no hope left of you, and it can be a pretty precarious situation for any human being, and of course, if you're a man, right? Now, at the time I remember I just didn't know what to do. I didn't have the knowledge, which I have now, but I just let it pass. I just thought, oh, it's like I'm in a mid 40s, it doesn't matter now. Let me just live this low life and kind of conk off, right? That's what I thought. But who knows, thanks to God, things changed after a year and a half, and things are back to normal. And in fact, it's more than normal, right? So we'll come to that. So the reason I'm telling all about this and exposing myself and my vulnerability, right, which is a pretty hard thing for me to do, is to give hope to a lot of men who are probably in their late 30s and who are going through this problem, or mid 40s, and kind of you want some hope, and you want some assurance that things can be redeemed, or you can get back to how you used to be. One of the things you should also remember is that obviously your testosterone is never going to be the same that you had in your teens or early 20s, right? I understand what you're thinking, but it's never going to be that way. You can pretty much kind of reverse the decline. That's what I'm saying. Or if you work hard enough, you can even get back to your, let's say, 5 years. uh, or the kind of testosterone that you should have had in your late 30s is still possible in your 40s if you work pretty hard at it. So don't lose, and stay focused, and let's go through what we need to get it right, get it working. So let's see. I wrote down some notes, and this is just based on my basic my own routine. It's not like a chat gpt notes or anything. I'll just go through that. I'll share my screen. As you can see, this is what I kind of did to fix my testosterone naturally, and that's the best way, right? If you can fix it naturally, what better than that, guys? Come on. Sleep. Okay, so the reason I rated it the highest is because this is very, very crucial to fixing yourself in general, and also fixing your testosterone production. Now, we spoke about morning wood, which happens roughly at 4:35, 5:30 in the mornings, right? Again, you should understand that testosterone production actually kind of happens in your fourth, or I think fifth REM cycle, which is why your sleep and sleep quality is extremely vital for you to fix yourself and fix your testosterone. So don't ignore that. You have to get 7.5, 8 hours of very good quality sleep consistently. So don't ever discount that part. Everything else you do becomes nullified or is very less useful if you discount sleep. Exercise, sedentary life, lack of movement, etc., contributes a lot to obesity, and also makes you a low testosterone or a low T guy. So obviously you have to exercise, and it's not like I'm going to tell you that you have to keep on exercising 2 3 hours a day. Yeah, can you do about half an hour a day? Can you do about 20 minutes a day, or can you do 30 minutes 3 times a week? That's also good enough, right? So the then you might ask, what are the types of exercise you should do? Yes, a lot of HIIT is considered very good, but the best thing that you can do, or the best bang for the buck, or the investment that you can do, is resistance training or weightlifting, right? So if you lift weights, you will build muscle. I'll come to that. But if you lift weights and do it, 3 4 times a week for about even 30 minutes session, that is pretty good. So about 120 to 150 minutes. Or if you think it's too much for you, at least start with even 50 minutes to 100 minutes a week. That's also good enough. Build muscle, you will eventually lose fat, and when you have more muscle, it has a two-way relationship with testosterone. So testosterone is required to build muscle, but you're struggling. But as you start building muscle somehow, and your muscle will make sure that your testosterone is also getting fixed in the bargain. Food, just keep it easy. I'll not go deeper into the exact type of food that you eat, but if you can just cut out processed foods to start with, that's more than enough. Fatty, oily, junkish kind of food, just avoid them. You just stick to clean, eat whole foods. That's more than enough for you to get back to your normal self. Then there's the part of stress, right? So stress, of course, we even if you remember, we when we spoke to Hema Gandhi a couple of weeks ago on hormones and stuff, she also mentioned about stress. So this is something that will affect you. It will kill your tea. But obviously, right, I cannot say don't get stressed in life. So these are factors that will happen externally. It could be any situation that you face in your life, whether personal or professional. Now, what do you do when you're stressed, right? What I'm so obviously, I can't just say don't take stress. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, right? Everybody has to learn how to handle the stress. That's the best that you can hope for. You could go for a walk or spend time in nature, meditate, yoga, whatever works for you. You do it. But if you do part one, two, and three well, that is the sleep, the ones that I've written here, right? Sleep, exercise, and food. If you do this, probably you will be better prepared to do this any which way. So you don't have to plan explicitly for handling stress. You don't have to worry too much. This one is extremely critical. Sunlight. Very easy to get, about 5 to 10 minutes of sunlight every day. It could be in the morning or in the afternoon. It could be a post lunch walk, which is pretty ideal, right? So you can club a little bit of movement along with sunlight. Very, very important for you to get your testosterone back. Uh, this one is a bit interesting, right? So I purposefully added it because you should know being around women, it naturally increases testosterone production temporarily and in the long run as well. It's more of a biological, evolutionary, and psychological effect, right? I mean, if, and being around women that you like, that you find, let's say, beautiful, pretty, attractive, hot, whatever the definition for you is, it's the kind of confidence of, we men typically want to feel attracted to women, right? There's nothing hiding that. If a man says otherwise, that I don't care, he's just lying. It's a kind of a great validation. This kind of seems to be tons of research done to show that if you are around pretty women, it helps with natural testosterone production. So double bonus, guys. So go for the hunt. Doing something competitive, of course, it could be sports, it could be work, your hobbies, etc. You competitive spirit in general seems to help with increased testosterone production, or it could be an anticipation of a fight or a competition. It could be anything, right? So these are things that men crave for. If you see the animal world, the male species typically does a lot of dance, bells and whistles to attract a mate, right? Otherwise the female is going to choose only the, let's say, the best impala or the best bull to mate with. That's how it works. So for a male, he has to show aggression, he has to show a little bit of dominance, and these are things that helps you with, and testosterone helps you to be competitive, right? So that's something that you should keep in mind. So these are pretty easy ones. Let's say you might be wondering, I don't know what to become competitive, and don't kind of complicate things. I think the number one, two, three are pretty easy. Number five is pretty easy. Maybe six and seven could be a little difficult for if you're a little shy, but try and fix it. And let's break down the complex problem into small ones. Sleep, exercise, food. Okay, these are pretty easy. Okay, let's you think, okay, I still don't exercise. It's literally you find it pretty tough. Fine, take it. Can you just focus on food and sleep in that case, right? But sleep is a non-negotiable. I want you to give that the highest priority. So don't let go of sleep. So just to tell you about this competitive part, I will also refer you to Andrew Huberman quote. Data from humans make it very clear: wins preceded by effort result in significant increases in testosterone. Wins not preceded by direct effort do not. True for all people and across domains, physical, cognitive, etc. Although physical effort itself has its own impact, of course. So this is on testosterone that we collected, and I also want people to know that in general, as a human race, there was an article that you're not what your father was or your grandfather was. That was an article that I've read before, so I'll just show you. This is the one. So isn't it pretty damning, right? It's not a good sign for human species. Already the birth rates are dropping, and there are fertility issues in both men and women, and these are a lot of consequences of the declining, let's say, sperm quality or testosterone levels as well. Now, as you can see, from 1950s to 1980s to 2000s, and you can see how much the testosterone level has dropped. You can see almost it's half or less than half from 1950 to 2020. This is basically done for people of the same age in different generations, right? So if they take your grandfather versus when after I become a grandfather, they then compare in the same age and see what is my total testosterone or free testosterone, and they kind of plot the graph. This is something that I picked, so I don't have the numbers here, but I found this. If you want a little more nuance, you can see how in 1987 to 89, couple of years here and couple of years in 1995 and 2002. So they've done it in a 5 6 year kind of a gap. As you can see, from 500, it has come to 435. That's almost a 10% drop. And then again, you can see it's about from here, it's 25% drop. And imagine in almost a decade, it's dropped by about 25% as for the men of the same age. So it's kind of very concerning, but at the same time, that's the reality, right? What can you do? But yes, you can only work on things under your control, which means what were the 7 points that I said, what that those work for me will definitely work for you. I wish you all the best. I want you to take hope from the fact that these are kind of lifestyle issues which are reversible. Of course, I'm not a doctor, so that's a disclaimer that I want you to keep in mind. Hope you like this session. Definitely forward it to your friend or anyone who's having this kind of inhibitions, feeling a little embarrassed and feeling a little low in life in mid 40s. It's pretty a lonely time for men in their 40s. They generally don't like to talk about it, but that's one reason I pick up topics like these to give hope to people who really want to make improve themselves. I mean, if you ask any man, do you want to get better than how you were a few days back? Obviously, the answer is going to be yes. Why not? Right? We are supposed to improve on our daily basis, and that's one of the reasons we need to live. I hope this information was quite useful for you. Do drop in your questions or comments, and like and share this video with your friends. I'll see you next week with some other content, interesting part next week. See you.